Contact hypothesis. What is contact hypothesis? Contact hypothesis is a theory in psychology which states that conflict in between groups can be reduced if the members of the groups interact with each other. In the 20th century, researchers who were interested in understanding how conflict and prejudice could be reduced found that contact with members of other groups was related to lower levels of prejudice. Segregated groups actually tend to have higher levels of prejudice. Gordon Allport, who first proposed the theory, suggested that there are 4 conditions necessary to reduce prejudice. The first one is equal status. Equal status is important because contact in which one member is the subordinate won't reduce prejudice, and it will actually make it worse. The second one is common goals. Common goals is self-explanatory. If both groups have a common goal that they have to work together towards, the positive interactions improve relations between the group. So working together towards a common goal is just gonna help the overall relationship between these two groups. Cooperation, again, so positive interactions from working together improve relations. Allport actually wrote, the only type of contact that leads people to do things together is likely to result in changed attitudes. So only through working together can we change attitudes about the other group. The fourth one is institutional support. When authority figures support the contact between groups, it makes the group look like they are together and are all members of one single community rather than 2 separate groups. Contact hypothesis and conformity. Conformity is the unconscious tendency to act and think like the people around us. Our lessons on conformity and obedience support all of Allport's first need for contact hypothesis, equal status. We go along with the majority because it shows us what socially accepted norms are. Informational influence. People go along with the majority because it provides information on what social norms are. So Allport's first need states that equal status is needed to correctly apply the contact hypothesis theory. Giving another group equal status and treating them equally makes it socially acceptable and normal to be in contact with that other group. Like the definition for informational influence states, people tend to go along with the crowd because that's how we learn what's acceptable. So we through watching what's going on around us, we learn what's normal. Contact hypothesis and the psychology of groups. Our study of how group work relates to Allport's second and third necessity for contact hypothesis theory. This is a group development slide that we actually had in class, and these are the different phases. So the group development phases support Allport's second and third necessity for contact hypothesis, which are common goals and on cooperation. Our study of groups has shown us that when 2 separate groups have to work together towards a common goal, attitudes towards the other groups tend to get better. And our study of groups in class kind of shows how this works here in the different phases. Applying contact hypothesis in segregated communities. Studies show that segregated communities tend to have higher rates of prejudice. In order to reduce prejudice in segregated communities, increase contact between said communities. If I were tasked with applying contact hypothesis in the segregated communities, I would increase contact between said communities by starting social events and or sport teams or hobby groups that will increase socialization between the segregated communities. Thank you.